Picture this. You wake up one morning and for a brief moment, the world is silent. No phone buzzing, no messages, no one telling you who to be or what to do. It's just you and your thoughts. And in that silence, you realize something. Every decision you've ever made, every success you've ever had, every failure you've ever faced started right here in your mind. Now let me ask you a question. If your mind was a battlefield, would you be winning right now? Or are you constantly surrendering to fear, doubt, and other people's opinions? We live in a world that will test you every single day. Life doesn't knock politely. It barges in with problems you didn't expect, challenges you didn't prepare for, and moments that push you to your breaking point. And when that happens, it's not your bank account, your looks, or your charm that's going to save you. It's your mental strength. Most people don't lose in life because they're not smart enough or talented enough. They lose because they break inside before the fight is even over. They let their mind convince them they're not ready, they're not capable, they're not worthy. And that's the moment they stop trying. But what if you could rewire the way you think? What if you could stand in the middle of chaos and remain calm? What if no insult could shake you, no setback could define you, and no fear could stop you? What would your life look like then? You see, mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And the truth is, it's built in the moments you want to quit, but don't. It's built when you keep moving forward, even when everything in you is screaming to turn back. Today, we're going to dig deep. We're going to strip away the excuses, the lies you've been telling yourself, and the habits that keep you stuck. I'm not here to give you a motivational high that fades in an hour. I'm here to hand you the tools to rebuild your mind from the inside out. Because once your mind becomes unshakable, the rest of your life will follow. And by the time we're done, you're going to look at challenges differently. You're going to realize that nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you unless you let it. Now let's begin. Your mind is constantly talking to you. Right now, even as you're hearing my voice, there's another voice inside your head commenting on what I'm saying. It's analyzing, judging, agreeing, or maybe even doubting. That voice never shuts up. It's there when you wake up, when you're driving, when you're sitting quietly, and especially when you're lying in bed at night. And here's the truth. If you don't take control of that voice, it will control you. Most people don't even realize how much power their inner dialogue has over their actions, their confidence, and ultimately their destiny. The way you speak to yourself is the foundation of how you see yourself. If your inner dialogue is full of criticism, doubt, and fear, you're going to live small. You'll hesitate when you should take action. You'll settle when you should fight for more. You'll talk yourself out of opportunities because in your mind you've already lost before you even try. Think about how often we tell ourselves things we would never say to another person. If your friend made a mistake, you might say, "It's okay, you'll get it next time." But when you make a mistake, what do you tell yourself? "I'm so stupid. I'll never get this right. I always mess things up." That constant negativity becomes a habit, and habits shape your life. You start believing the lies your mind repeats every day. And here's the scary part. The brain is a master at finding evidence to support whatever it believes. If you believe you're not good enough, your brain will focus on every single flaw and every time you fall short, ignoring the hundreds of times you succeeded. This is why controlling your inner dialogue isn't optional, it's survival. Because your mind can either be your biggest cheerleader or your deadliest enemy. The first step to taking control is awareness. You have to start noticing what you say to yourself when no one else is listening. And this isn't about faking positivity or lying to yourself. It's about telling yourself the truth in a way that builds you instead of breaking you. Let's be real. Life will already throw enough challenges at you. There will be enough people out there ready to doubt you, criticize you, and underestimate you. You don't need to join their team. If the world is already against you, why would you be against yourself? You have to decide that the voice in your head will be the one that pushes you forward, not pulls you down. When that voice says, "I can't," you need to respond, "Why not me?" When it says, "I'm not ready," you say, "I'll figure it out as I go." When it says, "I'm not enough," you say, "Watch me prove you wrong." This isn't blind optimism, it's mental training. Just like you train your body in the gym to be strong, you train your mind through repetition. The more you practice redirecting negative thoughts, the more natural it becomes. I'm not saying you'll never have doubts or fears. We all do. The difference is mentally strong people don't let those thoughts have the final say. They acknowledge them, and then they choose a better thought. They understand that the conversation in their head shapes their reality. You've heard the phrase, you become what you think about. That's not just a nice quote, it's a psychological truth. Your thoughts create your emotions drive your actions, and your actions build your life. If you want a stronger life, start with stronger thoughts. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people walking into the same difficult situation, a job interview, a business pitch, a tough conversation. One person's inner dialogue is, I'm not ready for this. I'm going to mess it up. They're probably going to reject me. The other person's inner dialogue is, I've got this. I've prepared. Even if I don't get it, I'll learn something valuable. Same situation, two different mindsets. Who do you think performs better? Who do you think leaves the room with their confidence intact? The difference isn't skill, it's self-talk. That's why some people succeed even without having all the resources or experience. They don't talk themselves out of opportunities before they even start. And that's the trap most people fall into. They sabotage themselves with their own words before life even has a chance to test them. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is moving from a victim mindset to a problem-solving mindset. When something goes wrong, instead of telling yourself, why does this always happen to me? Tell yourself, what can I do to fix this? What can I learn from this? The shift changes everything. It moves you from feeling powerless to feeling in control. And the more you feel in control, the more confident and resilient you become. Another important thing to remember is that your inner dialogue is contagious. It influences how you speak to others. If you're constantly tearing yourself down, you'll either project that negativity onto people around you, or you'll seek validation from them to fill the gaps in your own self-belief. But if you build a strong, empowering inner voice, you'll naturally lift others up and inspire them without even trying. So how do you start controlling your inner dialogue right now? You start by becoming aware of it. Notice the language you use with yourself. Are you speaking in absolutes like always and never? Are you labeling yourself based on one mistake? Are you focusing more on what you can't do rather than what you can? Catch those patterns and break them. Replace I'm terrible at this with I'm learning this. Replace I can't handle this with I'm figuring out how to handle this. Small shifts add up. And here's the truth. You will slip up. You will have days where your inner critic is loud. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. The more you practice controlling your inner dialogue, the more mentally strong you become. Over time, you'll notice something incredible. Challenges that once felt overwhelming will feel manageable, and fears that once stopped you will lose their power. Your mind is your home. You live there every single day. If you don't like the way it feels, it's time to renovate it. Throw out the toxic thoughts. Redecorate with beliefs that push you toward your goals. And remember this, every word you speak to yourself is either building you or breaking you. Make sure your words are building a version of you that is unstoppable. Most people live their entire lives chasing comfort. They want the perfect temperature in the room, the softest bed, the easiest job, the safest route. They want to know exactly how things will play out before they take the first step. And while there's nothing wrong with enjoying stability, here's the hard truth. Comfort is a slow killer. It doesn't destroy you overnight. It lulls you to sleep. It makes you complacent, and it convinces you that playing small is the same as being safe. If you look at anyone who has achieved something extraordinary, you will find one thing in common. They learned how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They didn't need guarantees. They moved forward despite uncertainty, fear, and not knowing how it would all turn out. That's the essence of mental strength. Being willing to walk into situations where the outcome is unknown, but trusting yourself enough to figure it out along the way. Think about it. Every meaningful growth in your life came from a moment of discomfort. The first time you tried something new, you felt nervous. The first time you stood up for yourself, your heart raced. The first time you took a risk, you had no idea if it would work, and yet those are the moments that shaped you. Comfort zones don't grow people. Challenges do, and challenges are uncomfortable by design. But here's what most people don't realize. Discomfort isn't the enemy. Discomfort is the sign that you're in the right place. It's proof that you're pushing past your limits, expanding your capacity, and stepping into new territory. The real danger isn't being uncomfortable. It's staying exactly where you are because it feels safe. That safety is an illusion. Life will change whether you want it to or not. And if you haven't built the muscle of dealing with discomfort, those changes will crush you. Uncertainty works the same way. We've been taught to fear the unknown, but the truth is, the unknown is where all the possibility lives. If you already know the outcome, you're not growing, you're just repeating, and repetition might feel secure, but it doesn't take you anywhere new. The people who thrive in life aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They're the ones who have learned to move forward without needing to know every detail. They've made peace with not having all the answers and instead focus on building themselves to handle whatever comes. You see, life isn't a straight road with clear signs telling you exactly what's ahead. It's more like a foggy trail in the mountains. You can only see a few feet in front of you, but if you keep walking, the path reveals itself. Waiting until the fog clears before you move means you'll never take a step. And that's where most people get stuck. They wait for certainty before they take action, not realizing that action is what creates certainty. Mental strength means being okay with that fog. It means saying, I don't know exactly what's coming, but I know I'll figure it out when it gets here. That mindset frees you. It stops you from overthinking every move. It stops you from delaying your life while waiting for perfect timing, which, by the way, doesn't exist. The perfect moment you're waiting for will never come. And if you keep waiting, you'll look back years from now and realize you traded your potential for comfort. Let me make this personal for you. Think about something you want to achieve. Maybe it's starting a business, moving to a new city, learning a skill, or changing your career. If you're hesitating, it's probably because you're imagining all the ways it could go wrong. You're picturing the discomfort, the awkwardness, the uncertainty, the risk of failure. But here's the twist. You're already uncomfortable where you are. You're uncomfortable because you're not growing. You're uncomfortable because you know deep down you're capable of more. So either way, there's discomfort. The difference is one kind of discomfort keeps you stuck, and the other kind transforms you. When you start leaning into discomfort, something amazing happens. Your threshold for it grows. What felt terrifying before will start to feel normal. The same way your muscles adapt in the gym to heavier weights, your mind adapts to higher levels of challenge. That's why people who train themselves to face fear become almost unshakable. They've seen themselves survive it again and again. Now, here's an important point. Embracing discomfort and uncertainty doesn't mean throwing yourself into chaos without preparation. It means recognizing that you can prepare and still not control every variable. And that's okay. You do what you can, and then you trust yourself to handle the rest. It's a balance between readiness and courage. You can read every book on swimming, but at some point, you have to get in the water and feel the cold hit your skin. There's another reason to embrace discomfort. It's the fastest way to discover who you really are. Comfort keeps you in a bubble where your strengths and weaknesses remain untested. Discomfort reveals both. It shows you what you're made of. It strips away illusions and forces you to face your limits. And when you face them, you get to choose, do I stay here or do I push beyond this point? That choice is where mental strength is built. You might be thinking, but what if I fail? And I'll be honest, failure is part of the deal. But failure and discomfort is better than regret and comfort. Failure teaches you, it shapes you, it gives you information you could never get by playing it safe. And if you keep going, every failure becomes a stepping stone, not a dead end. The irony is that once you start living this way, once you start embracing discomfort and uncertainty, you'll begin to see it as opportunity, not danger. You'll look for the challenge because you know that's where your next level is hiding. You'll stop resisting change and start using it as fuel. And that's when life opens up in ways you couldn't imagine from the comfort of your safety zone. So the next time you feel discomfort creeping in, the sweaty palms, the tight chest, the racing thoughts, don't run from it. Pause and recognize what's really happening. Your mind is telling you we're stepping into new territory. That's not a signal to retreat. That's your invitation to grow. And when uncertainty stares you down, don't demand to see the whole map. Just take the first step, then the next. Let the path reveal itself, and trust that you'll meet whatever's around the corner with the strength you're building right now. Because comfort will give you a life that looks fine on the outside, that feels empty on the inside. Discomfort will give you a life that might scare you at times, but will leave you proud, fulfilled, and truly alive. One of the heaviest burdens people carry is the weight of other people's opinions. You might not realize it, but so many decisions you've made in life, what you wear, what you post, what you say, even the dreams you chase, are influenced by what you think others will approve of. And while there's nothing wrong with valuing advice from people you trust, there's a big difference between considering someone's perspective and living your life to please them. The truth is, you cannot become mentally strong if your self-worth is tied to how others see you. From the moment we're kids, we're taught to seek approval. We want gold stars from teachers, praise from parents, and acceptance from friends. That's normal. But if you never learn to separate your worth from the opinions of others, you'll live your whole life like a puppet dancing for applause, afraid to move in a way that might disappoint someone. You'll stop taking risks because you're scared of looking foolish. You'll hide your real self because you're worried about judgment. And worst of all, you'll abandon your own values just to fit into someone else's version of acceptable. Here's the hard reality. People are going to talk about you no matter what you do. If you succeed, they'll find something to criticize. If you fail, they'll say they saw it coming. If you play it safe, they'll call you boring. If you take a risk, they'll call you reckless. You cannot win in the court of public opinion because the verdict is always changing. And once you understand that, you free yourself from the endless cycle of trying to be liked by everyone. Detaching from the opinions of others doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop giving strangers or even loved ones the power to define your value. It means your choices come from your principles, not from fear of judgment. It means you respect feedback, but filter it through your own compass. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Let's be honest, many people's opinions are based on their own fears, insecurities, and limitations. When someone says you can't do that, what they often mean is, I wouldn't do that, or I'm too scared to try that. But if you're not careful, you'll take their limitations and wear them like they're your own. Suddenly, you're shrinking your life to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. Mentally strong people understand that seeking universal approval is a losing game. They know that the moment you start chasing everyone's validation, you lose your authenticity. And when you lose authenticity, you lose the one thing that makes you powerful, your uniqueness. You were not made to blend in perfectly. You were made to stand out in your own way. But that can only happen if you stop letting other people's opinions hold the steering wheel of your life. Think about this. How many dreams have died because someone said that's unrealistic? How many opportunities have been missed because someone thought, what will they think of me? How many relationships have been ruined because someone was more worried about looking good than being true? The cost of living for other people's approval is enormous. It robs you of your time, your peace, and your potential. Here's what you need to remember. You can't control other people's thoughts. You can influence them with your actions and your character, but at the end of the day, they have the freedom to see you however they want. And you have the freedom to not care. That's not coldness, that's self-preservation. You cannot live fully if every decision is filtered through the lens of, will they like this? The real question should be, will I respect myself for this? There will be times when standing true to yourself means people will misunderstand you. They might think you're arrogant when you're simply confident. They might think you're selfish when you're just protecting your boundaries. They might think you've changed when you're simply growing. You have to be okay with that. You have to accept that not everyone will see the real you, and that's fine. The people who matter will, and the rest are just background noise. You also have to be aware that the need for approval is sneaky. It doesn't always show up as something obvious like wanting likes on social media or fishing for compliments. Sometimes it shows up as hesitation, hesitating to speak up in a meeting because you're scared your idea might sound dumb, hesitating to post that content because it might not get enough views, hesitating to make a move in life because you're worried about the whispers behind your back. That hesitation is a sign you're letting someone else's potential opinion control you. The moment you stop trying to manage how everyone sees you is the moment you take your power back. Suddenly you start making bolder moves because you're no longer afraid of what if they don't like it. You start speaking your truth without watering it down. You start living in a way that feels right to you, even if others don't understand. That's freedom. That's strength. Of course, detaching from opinions takes practice. It's not about becoming reckless or shutting yourself off from all feedback. The key is learning to separate helpful input from destructive noise. Helpful input comes from people who want the best for you and who have your trust. Destructive noise comes from those who criticize without understanding or who speak from their own unresolved issues. You have to train yourself to tell the difference. One way to do this is to ask yourself, does this opinion help me grow, or does it just hold me back? If it helps you grow, even if it stings, consider it. If it holds you back or makes you doubt yourself without reason, let it go. Protect your mental space like it's the most valuable real estate you own, because it is. And here's a final truth. The people whose approval you're chasing, they're too busy worrying about their own image to be thinking about you as much as you think they are. Most of the judgment you fear is imagined. Even when people do judge, their opinions fade quickly because they're consumed with their own lives. Don't give temporary thoughts from others permanent control over yours. When you detach from the opinions of others, you step into a place of incredible power. You start living boldly, taking risks, and embracing opportunities you would have once turned down. You stop needing permission to be yourself. And that's when you become truly mentally strong. Because your life is finally yours. Life will knock you down. That's not a possibility, it's a guarantee. You will face moments when the ground is ripped from under you, when things you thought were certain fall apart, when people you trusted walk away, when plans you worked so hard for collapse overnight. And in those moments, you'll have two choices: stay down and let life define you, or get back up and define yourself. Resilience is the ability to get back up every time you fall. It's the refusal to let a bad chapter convince you that the whole book is ruined. It's the understanding that pain, loss, and disappointment are part of the process, not signs that you're on the wrong path. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Resilience is built in the hard times, not the easy ones. You don't become strong by avoiding difficulty. You become strong by walking through it and coming out on the other side. Most people think resilience is about never feeling pain, never doubting, never breaking. That's not resilience, that's denial. Being resilient doesn't mean you're immune to the hurt. It means you allow yourself to feel it without letting it paralyze you. You can cry, you can scream, you can be frustrated, but at the end of the day, you decide, I'm still moving forward. The people who rise after being knocked down aren't necessarily the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented. They're the ones who simply refuse to quit. They see every setback as temporary, every failure as a lesson, and every obstacle as a test of how badly they really want it. They know that losing once doesn't mean you're a loser, quitting does. Think about your own life. There have been moments you didn't think you could get through, but here you are. You've survived heartbreak, rejection, mistakes, and moments of crushing disappointment. And yet, you're still standing. That alone proves you're stronger than you give yourself credit for. But resilience isn't just about surviving. It's about learning to rise better, not just rise again. If every time life knocks you down, you get back up with more wisdom, more grit, and more clarity, then you're unstoppable. There's a mindset shift that's crucial here. Stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? Why me? Keeps you stuck in self-pity. It focuses on the unfairness of the situation, and while that might feel justified, it doesn't move you forward. What now forces you to take action. It reminds you that the next move is in your hands, even if the last one wasn't. That's where resilience lives, in the decision to do something with what's left, even when it's less than what you wanted. One of the hardest parts about resilience is that it requires patience. You won't always bounce back instantly. Some seasons will feel like a slow crawl rather than a strong comeback, but moving slowly is still moving. Progress isn't always fast. Sometimes it's just showing up each day and refusing to let the weight of yesterday stop you from trying again. Resilience also means accepting that failure and loss are not the end. And detours, sometimes life closes a door because what's behind it isn't meant for you or because it's preparing you for something bigger. But you'll never see that bigger picture if you stay lying on the ground, staring at the door that closed. You have to get up, dust yourself off, and keep walking until you find the next opportunity. Let's be honest, getting back up isn't always about motivation. Motivation fades. There will be days you don't feel like trying, when you feel exhausted from fighting. On those days, resilience isn't about feeling ready. It's about doing it anyway. It's about relying on discipline when your emotions are screaming at you to quit. That's why mentally strong people don't wait for the right mood to act. They act and the right mood follows. And here's something you need to hear. People will watch how you respond when you fall. Your resilience inspires others in ways you may never know. When you get back up, you give permission to others to do the same. You show them that it's possible to take a hit and still keep going. That's a legacy far more powerful than any success that came without struggle. Sometimes getting back up will require you to let go of things. You might have to let go of a dream that no longer serves you, a relationship that's holding you back, or a version of yourself that's too small for where you're headed. Resilience isn't about clinging to what's broken. It's about rebuilding stronger. It's about understanding that every ending makes room for a new beginning. But here's the key. Resilience doesn't happen by accident. You have to train for it. You train by doing hard things on purpose, by pushing yourself past your comfort zone, by facing challenges instead of running from them. Every time you endure something you thought you couldn't, you strengthen that get back up muscle. And the stronger that muscle gets, the less intimidating life's punches feel. You also have to be careful with the story you tell yourself about your setbacks. If you label them as proof that you're cursed, unlucky, or not good enough, you weaken yourself. But if you label them as proof that you're learning, evolving, and becoming more equipped, you empower yourself. The story you attach to a failure determines whether it breaks you or builds you. There will be times when you get back up and things still don't go your way immediately. That's okay. Resilience is a long game. Sometimes you'll have to get back up again and again before you see the reward. But every time you do, you're making a statement to yourself, to the world, and to life itself that you can't be kept down. So the next time you find yourself on the ground, remember this. Staying down is a choice. Just like getting up is. One keeps you stuck in the same place, the other moves you forward, even if it's one shaky step at a time. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to rise again and again and again. Because life isn't about avoiding the fall. It's about proving every single time that you can rise from it. That's resilience. And once you build it, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that can keep you from where you're meant to go. There will be days when you feel unstoppable, when motivation is high, energy is flowing, and everything feels possible. On those days, taking action feels easy, but life isn't made up of just those days. Most of the time, you'll wake up and not feel like doing the hard things you know you need to do. You'll feel tired, distracted, unmotivated, maybe even overwhelmed. This is where most people stop. They think they have to wait until they feel ready, until inspiration hits, until the mood is right. And that's the difference between people who achieve great things and those who don't. Greatness is built on discipline, not emotion. Discipline is doing what you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. It's showing up to the gym when you're tired. It's putting in the work on your goals after a long day. It's keeping your word to yourself when every excuse in the world is tempting you to take the easy way out. Emotion says, I don't feel like it. Discipline says, do it anyway. The problem with living by emotion is that emotions change constantly. You might feel inspired in the morning and discouraged by the afternoon. You might feel confident one week and full of doubt the next. If your actions depend on your emotions, your results will be inconsistent. You'll be like a ship tossed around by waves, going wherever the wind blows instead of steering your own course. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady. It's reliable. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what needs to be done. It's a commitment to yourself that stands even when your mood doesn't. And when you master discipline, you don't have to rely on motivation to carry you. You move forward regardless, and that's why you get results when others give up. Let's be real, discipline isn't glamorous. It's not the loud moments of hype you see in movies. It's the quiet, often boring moments when no one's watching and no one's clapping. It's waking up early to work on your dream while the rest of the world sleeps. It's saying no to distractions and temptations that feel good in the moment but cost you in the long run. It's delaying pleasure now for a bigger reward later. That's hard. but it's also where your power lies. Your emotions are like the weather. They change quickly and often without warning. Some days they're sunny and bright, other days they're stormy and dark. If you let the weather decide whether you move forward, you'll stay stuck in place half the time. Discipline is like a solid roof over your head. It protects your progress, no matter what's happening outside. This is why mentally strong people make decisions based on their principles, not their feelings. They don't ask, do I feel like doing this? They ask, is this aligned with my goals? Is this the right thing to do? And once they have that answer, they follow through. They understand that feelings are temporary, but the results of their actions last far longer. Think about it. How many times have you skipped doing something important because you didn't feel like it? How many workouts have you missed? Projects have you delayed? Opportunities have you passed up because you were tired or unmotivated? Now think about how different your life would look if you had acted anyway. The compound effect of small actions taken consistently, regardless of mood, is massive. That's the power of discipline. Discipline also requires you to hold yourself accountable. No one's coming to make sure you follow through. No one's going to drag you out of bed, force you to focus, or keep you from wasting time. That's on you. And yes, it's hard, but that's exactly why most people don't do it, and exactly why the ones who do stand out. Here's the truth. There will be times when you don't see immediate results from your disciplined actions. You'll work hard and feel like nothing is happening. This is where emotions can trick you into quitting. Your feelings will tell you, it's not working, why bother? But discipline says, keep going. The results are coming. Discipline trusts the process even when the outcome isn't visible yet. One way to strengthen discipline is to remove the decision-making process entirely. Don't ask yourself every day if you should do the thing. Make it a non-negotiable habit. If you've decided you're going to write for an hour each morning, go to the gym 5 days a week, or save a certain amount of money each month, don't leave room for negotiation. The more you negotiate with yourself, the easier it becomes to talk yourself out of it. Another important part of discipline is being willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term gain. This means turning down things that feel good now, but pull you away from where you want to be. It's saying no to staying up late so you can wake up early. It's saying no to spending money on something you don't need so you can invest it in something that will grow. It's saying no to instant gratification so you can have lasting success. Here's the beautiful thing about discipline. It creates freedom. It might sound like the opposite, but it's true. When you live by emotion, you're a slave to your moods. When you live by discipline, you're in control. You know that no matter how you feel, you can trust yourself to show up. That's freedom. That's confidence. That's self-respect. And here's the best part. Discipline compounds. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. At first, doing the hard thing will feel like a battle, but over time, it becomes your default. What once felt impossible will feel normal. And the results you start to see, whether it's a stronger body, a healthier mind, a more successful career, will fuel you to keep going. You can't always control how you feel, but you can control what you do. That's the foundation of mental strength. Your emotions are valid, but they don't get to run your life. Let your values lead. Let your commitments lead. Let your discipline lead. Because at the end of the day, discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And the only way to cross that bridge is to keep moving no matter what storms your emotions are throwing at you. The storms will pass, the feelings will fade, but the results of your discipline will remain. Life will never hand you strength on a silver platter. It will hand you storms, setbacks, and situations that test every ounce of who you are. And in those moments, you will have two choices. Let the weight crush you, or use it to build yourself into someone unshakable. Mental strength isn't built when life is easy. It's forged when the fire is at its hottest. Every step you've taken today, controlling your inner dialogue, embracing discomfort, detaching from opinions, building resilience, and choosing discipline over emotion. These are not just concepts. They are weapons. Weapons that will protect you when fear knocks, when failure whispers, and when doubt tries to take root in your mind. Understand this. There will always be noise. There will always be people who misunderstand you, challenges that blindside you, and moments that tempt you to give in. But your strength is measured by how you respond when everything in you wants to break. You are not here to live a life dictated by fear. You are not here to shrink yourself. so the world feels more comfortable. You are here to rise, to stand, to walk forward, even when the ground feels unstable beneath your feet. Because every time you refuse to quit, every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you get back up one more time than you fall, you are proving to yourself that nothing can truly defeat you. And when the day comes where you look back on your life, you won't remember the times you played it safe. You'll remember the battles you fought within yourself and won. You'll remember the moments you stood in the storm and said, "This will not break me." So from this moment forward, carry yourself like someone who refuses to be defined by weakness. Protect your mind like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Build it, strengthen it, and never let anyone or anything control it. The world doesn't need more people who give up when it gets hard. The world needs people like you, people who rise when everything says they should fall. And if you make that choice, if you commit to becoming mentally strong, nothing, no fear, no failure, no person will ever have the power to stop you. Stand tall, fight hard, and never forget. Strength isn't given, it's taken, earned, and built every single day. And it starts right now with you.